So it's an estrogen modulator, so it's a hormonal medicine. And so what it actually does, per Healthline, the website Healthline, for you guys that research a lot about your female bodies, you guys have seen the Healthline website before. But it's an oral medication that is used often to treat certain types of female infertility. Clomid works by making the body think that your estrogen levels are lower than they are, which causes the pituitary gland to increase secretion of follicle stimulating hormone, or FSG, and luteinizing hormone, or LH. So to my knowledge of like Clomid, like it's just not in my situation that you'd use it. Like a lot of times people that don't have a great egg reserve, they'll use Clomid. So there's just different factors of why you would use it. But the reason why she suggested Clomid was, her thought process was to increase the eggs, increase the amount of follicles that mature, to increase the chances of the right side picking up any egg, whether it's from the left side. Y'all, my memory card then ran out of memory. I know this is a long story. Hopefully you guys are loving it though. But hopefully I'm catching up with what I said here when the video cut out. So the treatment suggestions were Clomid with IUI, which I already explained there. And then Clomid with timed intercourse, which is the same situation, but then they just tell you when to baby dance, and then you see if you're pregnant. So they don't, that's when they don't analyze the sperm sample, blah blah blah. You just do it the old natural way with medicinal help. And then IVF. And obviously, like she said, you guys can just keep trying naturally. Like she wasn't just like pushing medicine. Like she was just like, you can just keep trying naturally, and just know that, like, you know, it's just gonna depend on, you're probably gonna have a higher chance if you're ovulating on the right side. And she did say that it's no tell you're out, like, for if you're younger, I feel like younger women might not understand, but or maybe you do, but just in case you don't know, like, you don't just alternate ovulation. Like sometimes you can ovulate on the left side 5 months, and then ovulate on the right side once, and then ovulate on the left side 3 months. Like it just depends on your body. And to be honest, I always feel ovulation pain on my left side. I'm not saying that I don't ovulate on my right side, I'm just saying, like, I always feel it on my left. So once that clicked that together, I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like I would be willing to bet money that I primarily ovulate on my left side. So it's really gonna be like up to chance. But granted, I did find out from a friend that I didn't know this until like I was 28 years old, that your tubes can pick, they're floating, like the way your uterus is set up, your tubes are connected to your uterus, so they're sort of like floating there. They're not like rigid structures. So they can actually, the right side can pick up eggs from the left. Well, it looks different on your end, but this is my right. So the right side can pick up from the left, and the left side can pick up from the right. I didn't know that. So I felt even better about that. It's really up to chance. I'm gonna be praying. We're both gonna be praying. Like, you know, it's always in God's timing, right? But I wouldn't mind getting assistance. So I did choose the Clomid with timed intercourse, because we don't need to do insemination yet. Like, I just feel like, I would say if I'm like 33, not to put ages on it, but you know, you do reach a certain age where you reach a geriatric pregnancy. And I want to hopefully have kids, you know, again, God willing, before I reach that age, just so I can, I mean, not that my body won't be in fit, but it's just, you know, just so I can reduce the risk of having kids with chromosomal issues. That's my thing. But yeah, so we chose to not do the IUI primarily because we're just young. We don't feel like we need to do IUI just yet. And I IUI is not covered by TRICARE, period. Nobody's paying out of pocket for anything that's like we don't feel like we have to do just yet. And so we set that up. And so I promise the story's almost over, but fast forward to today, where I'm at right now. So I was actually supposed to start my Clomid process yesterday. And it's just not, in the way they do it, which I need to look into this a little bit more, is like, it's not just like taking the medicine. Between your second and fourth day, they do the sonogram and do labs. So the sonogram, I think they just detect the same things like your follicles, like, I don't know if they're trying to guess what side you ovulate or if that happens in another sonogram, but you do a sonogram. I think you do like 3 sonograms in a month, and then you take your medication around the time of your fertile week only, and then I believe you might take an additional sonogram, or it's just a pregnancy test after, you know, the 2 weeks after the 2-week wait. And so yeah, I was supposed to start the first sonogram in labs yesterday. And again, you have to wait to like set it up. Like you have to wait until your flow starts to call them. Like it's not like you can plan it in advance. And my thing was, I just know how the insurance and medical field work with money. Thank you. And so even before this, they sent me the pamphlet about IUI, and I even emailed them like, why does it say IUI? I'm not getting an IUI. IUI is not covered by my insurance. Can you please make sure everything is notated like timed intercourse? Like, and I got no response, but you know, through the holidays and stuff, I just sort of forgot to check up on it. So I just called them, set up the appointment really quick for Friday. And then Thursday after hours, they texted me like, oh, excited to see you tomorrow. Just a heads up, you're gonna have to pay $1,250 for the whole cycle upon your arrival tomorrow on Friday. I looked at a text message like $1,250. Wait a minute, y'all didn't even tell me anything like on the phone. Like, granted, I'm mad at myself because I usually check about those things, and I think it's because it was during my work day. I was just like moving fast, but I couldn't even call anybody. Like, it was after hours that they send the auto text. And I'm thinking about people that aren't in my situation. Like, we can make it work and afford that, but at the same time, like, what about people that can't? So many memory card issues, y'all. I think I need to get another memory card just because there's some things on my camera that I like to save, and some like, so it's sort of starting to build up. It's just starting to build up. But sorry again, but what I was saying was basically, come to find out, the fertility clinic told me that they will not submit the claim because they think, or they, in their experience, it gets denied every time for this specific thing. And I was like, can you just do it anyway? Because I want to submit an appeal with my insurance. Just because what we're doing, to me, first of all, doesn't equate to $1,250. Like, basically, you're checking my follicles, you're checking on my follicles, you're running labs, and you're giving me medicine to increase my egg volume and my, you know, hype up everything hormonally that goes on with your fertile window, telling me when to baby dance, and then giving me a pregnancy test. How in the world does that cost $1,250? And a lot of those things separately are covered by TRICARE. And so for knowing that, for me, I'm like, I know that at least maybe I can get an appeal on the sonograms, you know? Like, I just it didn't sit right with me. And so I was just like, I need some time to figure this out because I don't want to pay for something that I know otherwise could possibly be paid for by insurance, and I just don't want to rush into it. You know what I mean? And so they were like, oh yeah, I understand, because they ended up telling me as reproductive endocrinologists, they can't submit the claim, but you can try to ask your OB/GYN and see if they'll do it, and because they can submit the claim. And I was like, what? Like, and in my head I'm like, why in the world did they not discuss this before? They're a fertility specialist clinic, like what's going on? And so I ended up calling my OB/GYN that I already had a referral open for, left a message for her office. I still didn't get a call back. Hopefully I get a call back tomorrow on Monday from them. Just my blanket question was, do you guys offer fertility services? So that's how I know how to move forward. Again, this is how I manage my stress levels about this whole thing, like just through this whole journey, is just, okay, when something happens, if you're mad about it, be mad, okay, but then what's the next step? Like, just try to keep on figuring out next steps keeps you sane. And so I just wanted to share with you guys like what in my head, what I'm thinking my options were gonna be going forward is, number one, hopefully we hear back from the OB on Monday. Hopefully she says that she does fertility services and she can submit a claim, and we'll see what we have to pay out of pocket. Hopefully it's less. And if it's not cheaper, then the specialty clinic will just do that. Second, I mean, it could be that she's gonna say no, and that's not gonna be even an option, and we'll have to go to the fertility specialist to get the services. So we're hoping that we can submit a claim through the OB. Again, if we can't, we'll just do Aspire, but the fertility clinic. But then it comes down to just figuring out financially. And it's crazy because it's not like we don't have the money to do cycles, okay? But we don't want to be stupid. We're not stupid with our money. We think through to like 2022 short term, and even we do portions of our money, we do think about long term. And so in our financial planning that we've done so far, we never planned for spending this much money per month for cycles. And so we just want to rearrange. We're going to have to possibly cut things out like traveling or anything like that to just still be comfortable with not digging into like our savings that we've been working so hard to build up. And so we're just gonna talk through budgeting once if it does end up being like, okay, we have to go to Aspire. And then also I forgot to mention that my employer, they actually offer fertility services, like coverage for fertility services. So I'm sort of sad like that it took this long to figure this out, because I could have just made it for open enrollment and then figured all this out before then, but everything happens for a reason. So if we're still in the same boat, by next year's open enrollment, I'm just gonna add the secondary coverage and then go from there and get it covered from there. I'm hoping that I can at least have one cycle in 2021. Two wouldn't hurt, but my feelings about everything, and this is off the dome, completely like my raw feelings, is that I am honestly very glad that I have answers. Even though it's labeled as unexplained infertility, I do know what's going on in my solutions. I am primarily frustrated with the healthcare system at this point, just because it basically took us a full year to figure this out, and it's because of the healthcare system. It's not because of us. Like, we were on it with everything, and I just think that all the ropes and the tape that you have to go through with insurance and setting up appointments, and maybe it was the primary factor was COVID, but like it just was a lot, and I just feel like it's extending time. But I'm just remaining patient. I know like everything again is in God's timing, so I'm not stressing about that, but it doesn't make it less frustrating. And then like another thing that I'm currently just like, I guess I should say sad about just a little bit, is that because of the insurance thing and that we have to budget properly, it's not like we're gonna be able to like do month by month. Like, we're gonna have to select like a few months, and maybe they're gonna be close together. I hope we can budget to where we can do, let's say if we end up doing 3 cycles, that we can do 3 cycles back to back, because it's not like I just have a low egg reserve, you know what I mean? It's the fact that my left tube does not work. Like, it will not, an egg is not gonna go through my left tube, period. And like, who's to know what month that's gonna happen where my right side ovulates? And so I just feel like more having consistent months instead of like a month here, a month there, a month there. It's just gonna make me feel better. And so it's just like, I hope we get to that point where we can select like 3 months that we can do back to back, you know. But overall, I'm still hopeful. Like, I can't wait to be a mommy, and I'm just taking this journey for what it is. And you know, I hope that like I can help people through my situation, because I feel like, you know, when you go through stuff, you have to share it with other people. And I honestly feel like a lot of times, like, that's why God had us go through things, is to help others. Like, you know, give your own testimony to other people. Like, what is the reason to go through pain if you don't share that pain with others? And it could open people's eyes to things. It's just so endless of how your life situations can affect other people. So that's what makes me feel better. And I have to say, I'm just being real, like, it doesn't mean that I'm not sad about things sometimes. It doesn't mean that like I don't get sad about like the situation. It's just like, I just remind myself of those things, and it makes me feel better. And I have a good support system. My husband is so supportive. He's very optimistic, like, about this whole thing, way more than probably I am, which is really good. And my family is just super supportive, and I have so many friends that are awesome. Like, now that I've, you know, shared, you know, talk about it with friends, like, I get to know other connections they have, like, you know, maybe other people that they've known working in the healthcare field that could help me with my knowledge and things like that. So yeah, that's just like my honest feelings right now. And I also wanted to give my suggestions to anyone that came to this video, whether you're new or a returning curl, and you just need suggestions, or you're curious about like what I've learned through this journey so far. So my advice, I just wrote things down so I just wouldn't forget, because I wanted to really help you guys. Number 1, I wanted to say it is okay to feel sad, but do not stay there. Find something that gives you joy. Plan for the next thing. Like I said, have been saying throughout this whole video, it's okay to be sad. Don't let people tell you don't be sad, and like, you know, all those things that people say, because it is a sad thing in my opinion, but don't stay in that sadness. Second, remember that God has a plan for your life and will never put you through something that you can handle, period. And I get constantly reminded of that. Like, I was so freaked out about the HSG test, and it didn't hurt at all. Like, just remember, like, some things you freak out about, and it's like, dang, like, it wasn't that bad, or man, God knew I could handle that. So just remember, research everything. Do not just rely on what your medical professionals tell you. Research everything and listen to your body, period. Okay, and that goes along with the next thing, be your own self-advocate. Like, because my like, I would bring it up to my primary care physician, and she would say, oh, you guys are young. Like, no, it doesn't matter what age you are. You can have things that affect your body in a young age. So if you feel like something is wrong in your spirit, just get the facts, sis. Get the facts, and then make yourself feel better. Like, that's what I did. So my next thing is that, just a heads up, like, you might not know this yet, or you might like have experienced this, but maybe it's just my pet peeve, but a lot of people are gonna tell you, like, don't stress out, relax, like, you're gonna be fine, like, it comes in God's time. Like, it's like, I know that, like, I'm not stressing out, like, I'm relaxed. It's just a different experience when you're going through something that a lot of people don't or just don't talk about. And then it's like when you know you're being relaxed and then it's still not happening. Like, so just heads up, like I know I've had to go through like being frustrated with that, but then remembering that people just aren't in your situation, just give them grace for it. So just a heads up there. It's just like that's gonna happen, that people say that, and that's just their way of supporting you. So heads up there. But my suggestion to deal with that is to make sure you insert yourself in a community that you can talk about things that everybody else is going through the same thing. Whether you find a YouTuber, you find somebody on IG, you find like a blog community, you find some kind of chat group that you can vent, or friends. Like maybe, you never know, like start talking to your friends about it, and you never know, like they might start saying, oh yeah, I had to do that, like man, how come you didn't tell me, like, you know. And so just being more open will help you find those in that community that you can talk to. So that would be my other advice there. And I wanted to share lastly the best 2 advice statements that I received so far. I'm sure I will get a lot more, but this is the best thing that's like honestly gotten me through this time. And my best advice from a friend, and I'll just say it's Terry, my friend Terry. Like she's been like so helpful through this journey that I've had. Like you guys don't even know, but she said, like, I can't, like, it's not quoted from her, but it was just the vibe of just like how I've been saying, make goals for the next thing, do not dwell on the current. So once you find something out, okay, what's the next thing? Like, make your plans for the next thing. And once you do that, like, it's hard to stay in, if you're ever in a negative space, it's hard to stay in that. So for example, like I was like spinning my wheels, like, oh my god, like I need to figure this out. So it was like the next step, talk to my primary care provider. Oh, take this blood test. Oh, okay, now your husband needs to take this essay. And then it's like, just make sure like you're structured and you have plans going forward. If you don't do that, it gets a little mucky, you know, it gets a little emotionally mucky where you're just like spinning your wheels. So once you decide that you want to go and figure out what's going on, just continue to make those short-term goals, and it helps you through tremendously. And then my best advice from actually my doctor, Dr. Mansfield, which I'm pretty sad, like I don't know if I'm actually going to go through this whole journey with her just because of the insurance piece that I discussed earlier. But she's just so bubbly, like I really love her personality, and she just made me feel so great through this journey. But she said, just know, with whatever happens, there will always be a solution. And I was like, man, that's so true. Like, you know, even if it's a solution that you didn't expect, like a worst case scenario, like any girls out there that's ended up just having to adopt or have a surrogate, like at the end of the day, it is still a solution. You will like have a solution and see that solution through. And it just made me feel like calm to know that. So she ended up saying that in our first consultation. So I just love that vibe. And you know, in case you don't have a doctor like that, just know that for yourself. Just remember, with whatever test results you get, with whatever news you get, there's always gonna be a solution. So just keep it positive. That's what I've learned through this journey. Honestly, like that's all I have for this video so far. Thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, like you are a major supporter. Like that's awesome. I know this video was long, but honestly it was like therapy for me. And honestly, what makes what I'm going through worth it is if I'm just helping one person. So if I've helped you watching this video, like you don't know how happy that makes me. It makes me so happy. So again, that's all I have. My next video in this series is actually going to be the next Clomid cycle that I have. So whenever that's going to be, I doubt that it's going to be this month. It's probably going to be in January, fingers crossed. I don't know, but if it's not in January, I'll just give an additional update of where we're at. But in the meantime, if you have any questions you want me to answer in the meantime in a video, like if you want to know how to do OPKs, if you like, honestly, like I know a lot of stuff about trying to conceive. So if you're needing any advice about that, let me know. And if you want to know any great products to use for trying to conceive, just let me know in the comments below, and I might create a video in the meantime. So that's all I have for you, girls. Until next time, peace and love.